She was only 13 years old, just days before Christmas. While most families were preparing gifts and planning celebrations, a quiet neighborhood in North Carolina became the center of a nightmare that would shock the nation. On the evening of December 21st, the teenage girl stepped outside, doing something ordinary, the kind of everyday moment that never feels dangerous. She wasn't involved in crime. She wasn't looking for trouble. She was simply a child living her life. She never came home. According to police, gunshots rang out suddenly, tearing through the calm of the neighborhood. When officers arrived, they found the 13-year-old girl suffering from fatal gunshot wounds. Despite emergency efforts, she was pronounced dead at the scene. The most chilling detail came next. Investigators said she was shot by a group of boys she did not know. No prior conflict, no warning, no explanation that made sense. As flashing police lights reflected off nearby homes, Christmas decorations glowed in the background, a haunting contrast that would soon spread across news broadcasts and social media. A holiday meant for joy had been replaced with grief. Family members arrived at the scene in disbelief. Screams cut through the night as the reality set in. A child was gone, a future erased. Within hours, the story began to travel far beyond the neighborhood. Headlines spread across the country, and one phrase kept appearing again and again. She was only 13. Parents everywhere felt it in their chest. Teenagers watched in fear. Communities asked the same question: how does this happen to a child? Days before Christmas, police worked through the night, canvassing the area, collecting shell casings, and reviewing surveillance footage. Witnesses described chaos and confusion. Some heard arguing. Others heard nothing at all, only gunfire. As investigators pieced together the timeline, it became clear this was not an accident. This was a deliberate act of violence. And the most disturbing part? The suspects were also young. As the community woke up the next morning, the shock had not worn off. Police worked against the clock. A 13-year-old had been killed, and with Christmas only days away, pressure mounted to find answers quickly. Detectives sealed off the area, combing the street for evidence. Shell casings, footprints, anything that could explain how a child ended up dead. Surveillance cameras became crucial. Doorbell footage, nearby business cameras, traffic cameras. Investigators gathered everything. Frame by frame, they reconstructed the final moments leading up to the shooting. What they discovered was deeply disturbing. Authorities announced that the suspects were a group of boys, some of them teenagers. According to police, the victim did not know them. There was no confirmed argument, no ongoing feud, no clear motive that explained the level of violence. That randomness made the case even more terrifying. If there was no reason, no warning, then anyone could be next. Within days, police made arrests. Multiple juveniles were taken into custody, charged with serious crimes, including murder and conspiracy. Because of their ages, many details were sealed, but prosecutors made one thing clear: they intended to pursue the case aggressively. The announcement brought a mix of emotions: relief that suspects were in custody, rage that such young people were capable of such violence, and heartbreak that no arrest could undo what had already happened. As news spread, the community gathered again, this time outside police stations and courthouses. Some held candles. Others held signs demanding justice. Parents began asking hard questions. Where did the gun come from? Why were teens armed? How did this escalate so quickly? Investigators said they were still working to determine the motive, but early evidence suggested impulsive violence, a split-second decision with irreversible consequences. Experts warn that crimes like this often involve peer pressure, access to firearms, and lack of supervision. When those elements collide, the results can be deadly. For the victim's family, none of that mattered. Their child was gone. And while the suspects sat in custody awaiting court proceedings, an entire community was left trying to understand how Christmas week turned into a crime scene. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Behind every breaking news headline is a real person. The 13-year-old girl at the center of this case was not just a victim. She was a daughter, a student, a friend, someone who laughed, made plans, and had a future that stretched far beyond the days leading up to Christmas. Family members described her as bright and full of life. She was at an age where the world feels wide open, old enough to dream, young enough to believe those dreams will come true. She talked about school, friends, and the holidays ahead. Christmas was supposed to be a time of excitement, not fear. Instead, her family was preparing for something no one should ever have to face: burying a child. Vigils were held in her honor. Candles flickered in the cold night air as classmates, neighbors, and strangers stood together in silence. Stuffed animals, handwritten notes, and flowers piled up at the spot where her life was taken. Many of the notes carried the same message: "You didn't deserve this." At school, counselors were brought in to help students cope. Classmates struggled to understand how someone their own age could be gone so suddenly. Teachers paused lessons. Hallways felt quieter. Parents hugged their children longer before school. Some walked them instead of letting them go alone. Fear had entered places where safety once lived. Experts say when a child is killed, especially by other young people, the trauma ripples outward, affecting not just families but entire communities. It forces people to confront uncomfortable questions about youth violence, access to weapons, and how early lives can spiral out of control. For the victim's family, the pain was relentless. Every Christmas decoration became a reminder. Every holiday song felt out of place. They spoke of wanting justice but also answers. Why her? Why that night? Why so young? There were no explanations that could bring peace. What remained was memory, and a growing determination among community members to make sure her name was not forgotten. Because remembering her means acknowledging what was lost. As the shock settled into grief, the case moved into its most critical phase: accountability. Prosecutors confirmed that multiple juveniles were facing serious charges in connection with the 13-year-old girl's death. Because of their ages, their names were not released, a legal protection that only intensified public anger and debate. How could children be charged with murder? Investigators revealed that the suspects allegedly acted together. Police described it as a coordinated act, not a single impulsive mistake. That detail changed how the public saw the case. This was no accident. It was a group decision that ended a life. Charges included first-degree murder and conspiracy, among other serious offenses. Prosecutors emphasized that the victim was unarmed, posed no threat, and had no prior connection to the suspects. In court filings, authorities outlined evidence they say links the teens to the crime: surveillance footage, witness statements, and forensic findings from the scene. Each piece added weight to a case that was already emotionally overwhelming. The courtroom became a place of tension. On one side, a grieving family struggling to comprehend their loss. On the other, families of the accused, forced to confront the possibility that their own children were capable of something irreversible. This dual tragedy sparked a national conversation. Some demanded harsh punishment, arguing that taking a life should carry the highest consequences, regardless of age. Others questioned how teenagers gain access to firearms and whether the justice system should focus more on prevention than punishment. Legal experts noted that juvenile cases involving murder are among the most complex. Courts must balance public safety, justice for the victim, and the reality that the suspects are still minors. But for the victim's family, the legal debate felt distant. Their child was gone. No charge, no sentence, no verdict could restore what was taken. As the case moved forward, one truth became painfully clear. This wasn't just about one night or one neighborhood. It was about a growing crisis that many believe is being ignored until it's too late. Days after the shooting, Christmas arrived, but for one family, the holiday no longer existed. There were no celebrations, no laughter, no gifts under the tree, only silence, grief, and the unbearable reality that a 13-year-old girl would never wake up again. The case left a permanent scar on the community. Vigils turned into calls for change. Parents began speaking openly about fear of letting their children walk alone, fear of how easily violence finds its way into young lives. What happened here was not isolated. Across the United States, youth-involved gun violence continues to rise. Experts point to a deadly combination: easy access to firearms, peer pressure, lack of intervention, and unresolved conflict. When those factors collide, the consequences are immediate and irreversible. This case became a symbol, not just of a life lost, but of a system failing both victims and offenders before tragedy strikes. For the victim's family, justice now depends on the courts. Trials will come, sentences will be debated, but no outcome will ever balance the scale. They are left with memories and a promise to keep her name alive. Community leaders say remembering her means doing more than mourning. It means asking difficult questions. It means refusing to normalize violence. And it means recognizing warning signs before they turn fatal. As viewers, we often consume true crime as stories, headlines, timelines, courtroom footage. But this case reminds us that behind every story is a child who had plans, dreams, and a future. A future that ended days before Christmas.